What's up everybody, S-Craft Blends back again with another barber tutorial, and today we have my man Aaron in the chair. Aaron likes to get a real tight fade on the side going into a, kind of a faux hawk look, a faded mohawk. So I started out by combing the hair down in the fade area just so I can, kind of prep that. Now I'm going to come in and pick everything out so I can shape it. Now whenever I'm shaping it, I stand behind my customer or I'll stand in front of him just so I can see kind of how I'm shaping it. A little bit later I'll kind of reshape it and I'll put it in an angle where you can see what I'm doing. So after I shape that one side, now I'm going to come in with a number 1 guard, a purple magnetic guard on my masters, and I'm going to go pretty high up, but I'm paying attention to how that, the bottom of that faux hawk is falling on the top of the head. And I was just going in with that number 1, and I will do that number 1 close going down with the grain just to, kind of prep the area that I'm going to fade in. Then I switched over to a 0 guard, and I'm dropping a little bit lower, and I'll go ahead and drag that 0 guard closed all the way down as well, just to, there again, kind of clean up the area so that I can fade into it a little bit better. Now I got some new wall seniors. I want to try them out. These are the ones that come with their own stand and everything, and they're pretty good. So anyways, I went ahead and created my first guideline with those. Then I opened them up fully, creating that second guideline. And then to tie these two together, I'll go ahead and close this about halfway and then start underneath that bottom guideline, just working to try to erase that, and I'll go up about halfway between that first and second guideline. Just if I see any little dark spots, I might go up a little bit further, but just tapping at those. I'm not really worried about getting that line out right now, simply because most of you guys know, if you watch my videos, I like to move quick through a haircut to lay the foundation, and I can always come back later and do detail work. If you knock out the bulk of the haircut in the first 10-15 minutes, then you have the rest of your appointment time to do detail work. You just have to have your systems in place. So now I have a number 1 going up against the grain, and I'm going to take that number 1 up pretty high, just kind of blending into the bottom of that faux hawk. And I want that faux hawk to be, real tight at the round of the head, and then, shape going up in that kind of V shape, I guess. So that way we can get the faux hawk more at the peak of the head, if that makes sense, hopefully. But yeah, so I'll just work on that, being mindful of those waves, trying to, blend those in. But also there again, I'm just trying to create a shape, and I can always come back a little bit later and blend that in better. And I believe I started with that one halfway open. A lot of times with the masters, I don't like to open it all the way, because sometimes I feel like that it doesn't grab the hair the way I like it. So sometimes I'll close it maybe just a quarter of the way or halfway, and use it that way. So then I went ahead, and after using that one halfway open, then I closed it and just dropped it a little bit lower, doing a fade down technique. Now I have the 0 guard on, and anytime I put a 0 guard on, I usually just do it halfway open. I don't like to use a 0 guard all the way open. So starting with that 0 guard halfway open, then I'll close it a little bit, or close it all the way rather, and then I'll work at the bottom of that fade. So as you can see, it didn't tie it together all the way, so I went ahead and took the guard off, opened the blade fully, and then I'll just tap at that line that I see, trying to tie it together. There again, don't worry about a perfect fade at first. Worry about knocking out the bulk of the haircut, so that way you can come back later and have time to detail. I know a lot of times, we don't want the customer seeing it until it's perfect, so we turn them away from the mirror, and once we have that fade perfect, then we'll turn them around so they can see it. Sometimes I do that, but if I've had this customer in the chair plenty of times and they know that they're going to come out with a good quality haircut, I'm going to blaze through just laying a foundation, and then I'll come back and do the detail work. They already know what it's going to look like in the end. So anyways, I'm going to come in, bald out the bottom, and just not going up all the way to the line, just going up, just balding out that bottom, and then I'll tap around at the line while I'm moving around. But there again, still not, worried too much about taking that line out. Right now I'm just worried about laying the foundation. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We did the same thing in the back. Usually whenever I'm fading one side, I'll kind of do half the back, and then I'll kind of do the other side, and whenever I do that side, I'll kind of hit the back as well. So the back was pretty much done, but there again, doing the number 1, going down with the grain. Then I did the 0 as well, coming back in, setting that first guideline with a clipper fully closed, and then we'll open it up, hit that second guideline, and then once we got the second guideline, we'll go ahead and close it halfway, drop below the first guideline, and then we'll fade halfway between those lines. Anytime I don't have a guard on, I always do close, open, halfway open. And then if I need to close it a little bit more to work on lines or dark spots, I'll do that as well. But if I have a guard on there, usually it's just open, closed. And there again, if I open it halfway, then I'll just close it. I'm not really worried about opening it all the way if I feel like it doesn't catch the hair like I want it to. So there again, I may open it 3/4 of the way, or I may open it halfway, and then I'll close it. But usually if I have a guard on, I usually won't do open, closed, halfway. All right, so now we got the number 1 on, and like I said, it's probably 3/4 of the way open or halfway open. And then I'll just kind of work my way right up pretty high on that, going into the darker hair at the base of that faux hawk. And I know that I'm going to put a part in his hair, so I'm not really concerned. For me, this saves time. I'm not trying to make the fade perfect in that area. I want it to look clean, obviously, but I also know that I'm going to put a part in there. So for me, I know I can save time if I just do a decent blend and keep it moving. But you'll see kind of whenever I put that part in, you'll see kind of where I left it darker, and I wasn't really concerned about blending it as much in that area. So I put the 0 guard on, halfway open, and I'm just working on, fading into that 1 guard that we just did, just doing that fade down technique. And I'm just using some corners, tapping at any lines and dark spots that I see. Not trying to make it perfect, just trying to get a good foundation. I can come back and do detail work later. Now we're gonna bald out the bottom. Once again, people say, why do you not work on getting one side perfect and then the next side or the back, And the reason being is because most of us have appointments and we're, crunched for time. So what I like to do is just get around there as quick as possible to lay a good foundation. If I can knock that out 10, 15 minutes, say you got a 30-minute appointment, if I can knock it out in 10, 15 minutes, now I have, 15 minutes left or 20 minutes left to do detail work. And at the end of the day, the haircut is done. I want to stop really quick and just see how I lightly punched in I lightly punched in that part, and then whenever I was curving down in the back, I just used the corner and I lightly drag that down, and then I'll come back in and clean that up. Now right underneath that part, he likes to keep a little bit of weight there, so that way it looks darker under that part, so that way it kind of gives it a little distinction. So I went ahead and did that, but I'll come back in and blend it a little bit later, to make it cleaner, but I still want to keep in mind that he likes it a little bit darker underneath that part. So now I'll just come back in and I'll do some detail work. I'll tap at the bottom lines. If I see any, dark spots, I'm just gonna tap at them with the corners just to lighten them up. I was sharing with someone today, you could do a number one all the way around someone's head, and you're gonna still see little spots. It's because the hair groups together in different areas, and there's light spots and dark spots. So I'm looking for that gradient. I want all the color to flow, not just the length. I want to see the colors flow together. So I'll tap with the corner of my blade just to kind of lighten up any dark spots that I see or lines, so the gradient or the fade looks just blurrier. So now I comb down some of that hair in the front, and I'll just come in with a number one guard and just go down with the grain just to prep the area. I usually line up starting in the middle, and I'll work my way to the highest point first. After cutting in the middle, I'll look, okay, which side looks higher, and I'll go to that side first, and then I'll just go ahead and bring it on across to the other side, trying to even it up. So now you can kind of see how I like to stand, and I'll just come in with my fade blade. Fade blades just really shape froze a lot smoother than other blades, in my opinion. So I'll come in and I'll just shape more of that triangle shape, but I don't want it to be a point, and you'll see why in just a little bit. We don't want to make it pointy. I do want it to have more of a triangle shape, but I want to kind of round that tip off so it's not a real sharp point. It comes up, to that triangle shape, but then we'll just round the top off. All right, now we're gonna come in with our Sean Cuts Hair color card. And yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and hit my man with some color. And I like to hit right over that part as well. I just want that part to really pop, so you'll see that I do that. Just make that a little bit more solid up in there. I see the front still needs a little bit, so I'll come back around and hit that front right there. Get it looking nice and solid and dark. All right, we're getting somewhere. Now I'm gonna go ahead and throw some hair fibers on. So I'll just go ahead and hit them with the hairspray first. Come in, hit them with the fibers, and then hit them with the hairspray again, giving it that sandwich effect. Now I'm going to hit it with the blow dryer so I don't gum up my clippers. And then I'll just come back in with the trimmers and just touch that line up again, and then scrape all that stuff off his forehead. The hairspray is causing those fibers to stick on the hairspray or on the forehead. So yeah, so now I'll come in and I'll just clean up that part. Remember, anytime you're doing any parts or lines or designs, don't just hit the top line, flip your trimmers over and hit that bottom line as well, so you can make those lines really sharp. Then we're going to come in with the razor, sharpen up the lines, and just kind of scrape that excess fiber and hairspray off of his forehead. Get it looking nice and clean. All right, so we'll do the same thing with the part. Just come in, touch that part up a little bit, get it looking a little sharper and cleaner with that straight razor. Now I'm going to go ahead and spray a little bit of water on his little faux hawk there, and then I take a little bit of gel. You've seen how much I use, and then I do not want to get that gel down on the sides where I faded it, but just at the tip of that faux hawk, I want to go ahead and just run my fingers in a circular pattern, kind of like you would do with a, one of the, I forgot the name of them, guys. You know what I'm talking about, the little foam, deals that, get the hair all curly. I'll just use the gel with my fingertips and I'll do that. So once I do that, now I can come back in and just detail more and just walk around and I might go up against the grain and fade. Right here I'm going with the grain. I'm just lightly with the blade fully open on my JRL thousands. I'll just come in and just lightly push and just try to knock out any weight lines that I see, just clean it up. And anyways, that's the finished look. I hope you like it. Yeah, so looking pretty sharp and clean. Anyways, I hope you liked it, guys. Until next time, God bless you. I'll be dropping another video soon. Peace.